Hi everyone, it's me Gil again. This is a video for my career writing in digital media class. And so basically all throughout this term, we've done some research on a topic of our choosing. And first we had to do a literature review, and then we had to do like a public facing article. And so now our last thing is to do either a video or a podcast, basically just talking about the same kind of research. And so I'm choosing to do a video. If you enjoy this video, I'd recommend looking at my other videos on my channel so far. During summer, I think what I'm going to do is probably go back through and upload all my school projects so far, just to kind of archive them. Also, feel free to check out my website if you'd like. There's some more kind of screenshots and stuff and more just kind of information about me. But yeah, enjoy the video. Hi everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the technical aspects of a film or TV show and how they support the story. So everyone has a favorite movie or TV show, like literally everybody. It's one of the most widely consumed forms of media in our society. Most people like movies or shows because it makes them feel something, whether that's sad, happy, angry, whatever. Everyone feels something, and it feels good for us as humans to be feeling something. What a lot of people don't realize is that a lot of the reason why they're feeling these things when they watch something is because the producers or the creators want the viewer to have this specific feeling. And a good movie or show will make the viewer feel exactly how the directors and creators of it want. So how do they do this? For the sake of this video, I've broken it down into 4 basic elements. We have framing, lighting, color, and music, with framing and lighting being the 2 kind of most important ones, and then color and music kind of being supporting, adding to that already established vibe of it. We're going to go through each one in a little more detail, starting with framing. In simple terms, framing is basically choosing what to include and what to exclude from each shot. In this shot right now that you're looking at, I'm placed in the left side of the frame, and my synth is back here. If I were to record this from a different angle, maybe I'd exclude the synth, maybe I'd bring it closer to my face, maybe I'd show more of my body, who knows. Framing is all about establishing a focal point, and the focal point is basically what your eyes immediately lock onto when you look at a screen or an image. Now, framing is useful not only for establishing a focal point, but also for kind of dramatic effect. An example of this in my research is 1,000 Times Good Night by Eric Poppy. It's a film about a photographer that goes into war zones and does it specifically for the purpose of showing the reality of it, what stuff might get left out of like the media or the news outlets. In this movie, there's a shot where the main character is laying in a hospital bed, and the framing of it is a super close-up shot of their eye, but only like the very center of their eye is in focus. Everything around it is kind of obscured and out of focus. And so a shot like that, it really is a very intimate shot, but also, you're seeing what this character is feeling and what they're experiencing through only their eyes. So now we're going to move on to lighting. Framing and lighting work basically hand in hand for establishing a focal point of a shot. Now, lighting is essentially used to establish more detail and kind of highlight parts of the frame that have already been established by the framing. So an example of this is the genre of film noir. Film noir is basically black and white. Specifically, it's got a lot of real emphasis stylistically on shadows, like very high contrast between light and dark parts of the frame. A common thing you'll see in film noir will be a shot of like a character's face where half of their face is like, nicely lit and very detailed, and the other half is kind of engulfed in darkness. It's very dramatic. A lot of the time, lighting is used with stencils or filters to cast kind of unorthodox shadows on things. Like one example that comes to mind could be using like Venetian blinds to cast that kind of shadow into a room or maybe on a character's face. There's thousands of different ways that all these techniques could be applied. So now that we've established lighting and framing as the foundations of a shot, we're going to move on to color. You could probably ask anybody. Most people kind of have the idea that certain colors tend to mean certain things or tend to be associated with certain things. So like, red is like love or romance. Sometimes red is anger. Green could be like money or greed. Purple is kind of like lavish, like royalty. So once a shot has been established by the framing and the lighting, color kind of comes in to reinforce the mood of whatever the kind of like vibe of the shot is, or of the whole piece. It basically provides a little more visual interest. What is really interesting about color in film and TV is that a lot of the time colors interact with each other in specific ways. Color combinations are really important to the mood and like kind of what you're trying to go for. There's three main types of color combinations that we're going to talk about today. Complementary colors are across from each other on the color wheel. An example of this is like blue and orange or red and green, but this is used frequently to kind of establish contrast, give some visual interest. Next, we have analogous colors. These are next to each other on the color wheel. So like if the main tone of your shot is yellow, you could support it with kind of like orange or red or maybe green. It's kind of a way to support that main tone with like similar colors around it. Finally, the third most common one is monochromatic colors. And this is basically one tone of color, but playing with the brightness and the saturation of it to kind of give a little more variety to it. This is really good if you want your shot to be heavy on one color, but don't want that specific shade of that color to be overpowering. You want to add some kind of variation of it, and it's a really good way to add visual interest. Now, these are basic principles of color theory, but movies and TV shows will use them either in a very digestible way, a very predictable way, or they can use complex color combinations to really bring out like weird emotions in the viewer. Now, music is the final element, and it's kind of the cherry on top of all the other ones. It's the final little piece to kind of elevate the mood of whatever you're watching. But music, it can be a really powerful tool in film and TV. I'm sure even me just saying music can make you think of a bunch of different examples. It can either be used as kind of like a background part to support how a character's feeling, or it can kind of take center stage and be the main focus of whatever shot it is or whatever sequence. While the other elements I've talked about are mostly concerned with establishing the tone, music kind of has the most profound impact on the viewer, and the other ones are kind of a little more subconscious. I hope I was able to illustrate the way that, behind the scenes choices kind of make us experience a story in a different way. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and next time you're watching your favorite movie or show or whatever it is, try and pay attention to things like this, like framing and lighting and color. How do the colors interact with each other? What music is being used? The chances are you'll come to appreciate your favorite piece of media a lot more.